Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with
Fitness.
And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Blue Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, this literally does not work. So I'm headed down the road, of course, with my main man, Michael Anthony, Fitness Reaction, and on all social networks. And gig, right? Gig economy?
No, that's not my business. I know
Okay.
gig economy. That's my business.
He's trying to run a business here.
I'm working on getting a business license next year. That's my ultimate goal.
All right, well, cool beans. And we're taking care of some rental property. I got to get this stuff turned over before I get my surgery next week. Exactly. Damn, 7 days and 1 hour from now, I'll be under the knife, hopefully getting some relief on this knee. In the meantime, I need to get this place together so we can get some people to move in. But as I drive, I do a lot of thinking, okay? A lot of thoughts go through my head, and, I go through a lot of comments and stuff. As Cowboy fans, we're never satisfied with what we have. We always are looking for the next toy or somebody else, and veterans. And I fall into this too, because I remember when we signed, and this is true advertising. I have been so wanting of a big man in the middle. And this is where you have to understand there's a difference between a nose tackle and a true nose guard. Most people think, a defensive lineman is a defensive lineman, and there's a big difference between the two. And the way I've always looked at the Cowboys' defense's problem starts from the middle of the field. The one technique guy, if you're running that 3-4 defense, you need somebody that will clog up the middle, because football's a numbers game. And if you have a guy who requires double teams, means two guys have to block him, that means one of your other guys is free. And that's a difference. And if you have a guy who can clog up the middle, it makes it harder for a quarterback to see downfield. And we have not had somebody who's been able to really get a push consistently in the middle. And so last year, when we ended up getting Dontari Poe, who as a younger player, clogged up the middle pretty good. It's kind of like you have one of those real big craps that literally, it's bigger than the toilet hole, and it clogs that sucker up. That's what you want for a nose guard. What are you looking for like that for? You don't want to have, where it's runny shit. That just right on up.
That and both hand and go hand in hand.
Because he's a big man who can get a push in the middle. He will clog up the middle like a clogged up toilet, okay? And that's beyond using a plunger, okay? You got to get the heavy duty snake when you get that kind of clog, and that's the kind of clog that I want in the middle. So when we got signed Dontari Poe, I was thinking, oh my God, we finally have a 340 plus big man that, hopefully all you got to do is just lay there. If he did the turtle move in the middle, we would have been okay. My turtle move, my famous turtle move, where you just literally lay on, it's Albert Hainsworth, if he'd been a nose guard and just laid in the middle clogging it up, would have been okay. But Dontari Poe, he was a shell of himself. He was an aging veteran that was looking to just go ahead and hang on and get a paycheck. No desire. I'm on my way out. Let me go ahead and get paid on the way out. Let me get that last drink, because this is the last call for alcohol. And we had a number of these guys that was kind of the same effect. Emerson Griffin, Gerald McCoy, although I think Gerald McCoy would have played well. Still hasn't signed with anybody just yet after the injury. But when you get guys that are getting older, you're going to have injuries. You're going to have, longer recovery times and things. So we still get excited, though, about the prospect, because in our mind, we're not thinking about Dontari Poe, who had been going downhill for a couple of years. We think, Dontari Poe, who was a Pro Bowler, a few years back, he can be that guy again. And I think the Cowboys have decided this is not what we're going to be about. We're not signing any of these older guys. So when you look at Richard Sherman that's still out there, Richard Sherman, in our mind, we're thinking about garbage ass wide receivers, when he talks that trash and stuff, we're thinking about Legion of Boom. We're not looking at a Richard Sherman who has lost his step. And I know people are going to say, you're crazy. He's still better than, you know what?
He's injury prone.
He's injury prone. See?
2 Achilles, I think. Injuries.
Right. Injury prone. People will come back and still say, we need to sign Earl Thomas. And it's like,
Earl Thomas is not okay in the head.
He's not okay in the head and hasn't, really played in over a year. Right?
I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor.
And we don't play one on YouTube. Although I do actually I do play a little bit here on YouTube. Okay. And by the way, I love my doctor. Dr. Thompson is cool. He is so cool. He is chilling like a villain. When he was telling me about the surgery and stuff, he's like, look, he said, I'll only be in there for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes at most on your knee. He's like, but go in, he said, well, go in, snip, smooth, and boom, zip, and, you're on to recovery. I said, recovery? I said, you mean you're going to knock me out? He's like, yeah, we got to put you to sleep for that one. And it's like, oh, man, I said, I was going to film it. He said, well, normally I take still pictures, but if you want me to film it, I'll film it for you. I was like, yeah, buddy, you my baby. So it's possible next week you're going to see a knee scoped. Mine. Inside and out. What? You're kind of primping your mouth. Huh? You wouldn't want to see that? Why not? I think it's cool. That's cool as shit.
Yeah.
I've never seen the inside of my knee before. I've seen the pictures and all that, but I want to see. What does it look? Does it look as fucked up inside as it feels? I think it's kind of cool. Anyway, that's what we're gonna end up having. He said he would do that, and I hope he follows through. But like me and my knee, older guys have that kind of issue. And like you just said, Richard Sherman is kind of having some of those injury situations. Now, would he be good to help educate the young guys? Yes, he would.
Maybe as a coach.
But the other part of the problem is when you bring in that veteran and you sign them for a bunch of money, you're not signing him to just be a mentor and sit on the bench. And what happens is you sometimes stunt the growth and the development of the younger guys. And here's the key on those younger guys. You've got 4 to 5 years of time to get them on the field where they're not costing you money. It behooves you to be able to get them up to speed sooner than later. So when you think about Don Terry Poe and bringing him in, where we literally signed him at training camp, he was on the PUP list. He could not practice, but became a starter week 1. It would have been better off had we had Gallimore getting those reps in training camp, starting week 1 and learning his craft then. He'd be further ahead than where he was, because when he finally got in there in the middle of the season, you saw him actually having flashes. And I would have rather if we were going to miss on a young guy, I'd rather miss on a young guy, and it's a teaching moment that will make him better down the road, because those aging veterans are really a stopgap measure. Richard Sherman, at best would be 2 years. And then there's Stefan Gilmore that, basically New England's trying to trade him to try and get what they can, because they realize that there's less time in front of him than behind him. And this is the thing that Cowboys management does too often. They hold on to guys to the point where they are literally done and get nothing for them. In some cases, it's hard because we fall in love with players and we want to see them retire as Cowboys. Sometimes you don't want them to retire as Cowboys, because if we had Robert Quinn, for example, we drafted Robert Quinn and everything else, and he came in and he played for us and everything else, and then retired as a Cowboy. Okay, fine. Because we didn't have that connection with him, we traded a 6th-round pick for him to Miami to get him. He was here for 1 year. He played lights out, and we let him go. We get a 4th-round compensatory pick. Yeah. We got a young guy, You know, when you think of Noshawn Wright, we got Noshawn Wright because Robert Quinn left. He wouldn't be there right now. No, actually, Noshawn was. No. Actually, no, I'm wrong with that. Noshawn was the 3rd round pick. I got to look and see who the 4th round was. I can't remember who. But anyway, regardless, we took a guy, let him go, got something in return, and were able to turn that into a younger player. And that's where the Patriots are with Stefan Gilmore. We're going to get rid of this older guy. We're going to get a compensatory pick, or we're going to get a draft pick for trading him. So that way we can reload with somebody else. That, my friends, is winning football. And that's why the Dallas Cowboys, don't look for them to sign any big name cornerbacks. I think the Cowboys have gone through and they've started working with this collective group of guys, and they say, okay, they're on par with what we're doing. And instead of bringing in somebody who's now got to catch up, who's older and maybe susceptible to injuries, we're okay with these young guys. We're going to coach them up. Think it's a winning strategy? It looks like I bored him. Doesn't he look like he's falling asleep? I hope I didn't bore you guys the same way, but, I like to talk. I love to talk. Talking's my thing now. It's crazy because I used to be shy. All right, y'all. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you on the other side.